is for POTA or parks on the air. So he does summits, I do parks. They can actually overlap. A lot of summits are in national forest, so some of these things will kind of overlap, but I personally don't do the summits. So I like to do park benches and tailgates are kind of my specialty. So things that you want to consider when you're choosing an antenna for a POTA. Are you going to be hiking to your activation? Then go with the SOTA principles of keep it really small, keep it really lightweight. Mother Nature. So I did an activation out of my truck at this picture. I didn't go outside the truck very much. So I wanted an antenna that would be very fast to deploy and set up. I didn't have to mess with it a lot to get it tuned, and I wanted to operate from inside the truck. Would you have a picnic table available? Or you can also bring a table with you. So that's another way of operating, and that changes what antenna options you might have available. Could you operate totally from the vehicle? So this is our van that's actually parked out there today. We're using a Wolf River coil, and it's just attached with an adapter to the NMO mount that's already on that truck for your UHF VHF. So take off the UHF VHF antenna, put the adapter on, put the Wolf River coil on there. Remember to extend the telescoping width first. I can tell you how I know that. And then you've already got coax that runs from that into the truck. So you can then run that back to the tailgate, run it to a table, or run from inside the truck. What bands do you want to use? So Parks on the Air runs on any band available to amateur. So you get to decide what you want to run, bring an antenna that's going to do what you want to do. Park rules. So a lot of parks have rules that you can't hang something on a tree. A lot of parks have rules that you may not penetrate anything into the ground, so you can't put in tent stakes or any kind of an anchor. So you really want to be cognizant of that, and that also is going to affect what antennas you might be able to put up there. And how much time do you have? So is this you are on a long road trip and you're just taking advantage of doing a little break during your drive, and you're going to do a quick activation, tear it all down, and continue on your drive? You want that to be pretty quick. Versus are you camping for a week? Do you care how long it takes to set it up and tear it down, because that's all just part of the fun? If you like to park light and run QRP, a random wire, as Steve likes to run a lot, might just be the perfect thing. This is a homebrew random wire. It's a speaker wire antenna. So what he did, it was W4 MPH, and he actually split the speaker wire. So cut it to the length he wanted. Now he's got two pieces exactly that length. He put, all that is an adapter. That is not a valve. That's just an adapter so that he can put it to the radio. And so he's got a counterpoise and an antenna all out of one piece of wire. Super cheap, really lightweight. And as he talked about, setting up a backyard test is a really, really great idea. Find out what that antenna really, truly will do. Use the whisper network that we were talked about earlier, and figure out, is this really, truly working? This guy, the day that he took this picture, he actually set this antenna up. He tested 3 different antennas. 2 were commercial antennas that he bought, and then this one that he built that he really didn't think would work very well. This antenna outperformed the 2 commercial antennas. So don't think that your cheap little low budget homebrew might not actually work really great. So if you like to replicate your entire ham shack and just bring a kitchen sink with you, maybe that's what you want. That is a commercial antenna. It's called the Buddy Hex, and it's about $600. So a little pricey, but you can actually, that's meant to be portable. So you actually, it all collapses in and it comes in a carrying case. And one of the things that you want to do to kind of figure out, because a lot of times, like say I drove to Ohio and I did a Parks on the Earth activation during that drive. I didn't drive there first to check out the site. That's not happening. So I use Google Maps, I use Gaia GPS to kind of get an idea of what is available there so that I know what antenna can I set up there within the park rules and within the terrain I'm going to get. But also so that I know terrain-wise, am I going to be at an elevation to where I'm going to have an advantage there? Could I do UHF, VHF? Am I down in a little valley where I'm going to need to worry about my takeoff angle? Because if I do a low takeoff angle in a valley, guess what happens? All of the stuff right next to you eats up your whole RF signal. So this was that picture that had the 19 degrees. Yeah, that's where I was. So yeah, I've got some really awesome elevation because I'm just west of Crested Butte, but I'm actually in a valley. So putting that Wolf River coil up on top of the truck gave me a vertical, which, as we learned earlier today, that gives you a great takeoff angle for being in a valley. So that is Brush Hollow Reservoir. It's not too far from here. Pretty popular area and really great Parks on the Air location. But you saw how it looked like there's a lot of trees there, right? There's not. Those are bushes. Your NFET's not going to do very well. Your dipole's going to be really bad. So another thing that you learn after you do a few of these is bring a backup. So Wolf River coil saved me on this one. UHF, VHF. If you're only a technician, or even if you're not just a technician and you just want to do a different band, this is a great way if you're got an elevation as your kind of your multiplier, or if you've got a population area fairly close to where you're activating to where you're going to have that short distance contact and enough people to where you can get that. So you can activate with a handheld on 5 watts if you've got enough advantages. Options if you don't have any trees. So Wolf River coil up on top of the truck. This was that activation that I did just west of Crested Butte. Yeah, there's trees there, but I'm not hiking to them. that snow is at least waist deep to me. And it's also 19 degrees out, so this parking lot is where they quit plowing the road. So this is also a staging area for snowmobiles, and I just took advantage of their parking lot, put up the antenna, and I went to town. This is a picture of the Wolf River coil as well. You can set it up on a tripod and do a ground mount. If you do the ground mount on the tripod, you do need to do radials because you don't have the ground plane that your vehicle is doing for you. So it's kind of the advantage of doing it on top of the vehicle. You don't have to deal with radials. This is another option without trees. A lot of people think, well, I've got an NFET, I can't do it if I don't have trees. Well, if you plant a hedge, you can. So this guy actually made a tailgate mount that has a telescoping fiberglass mast. And what that does, right line, there it is. So that telescopes up to 32 feet, and we put this as an inverted V. So he's got his end insulator down here. His transformer is over here. And there he has it. No trees have been harmed. And that telescopes down to, I want to say, 46 inches. So that's pretty portable. This is another option of an NFET half-wave kit from CAM4ACK. And this is a QRP, so you wouldn't want to be putting 100 watts through this. I don't remember what this one's rated for. You can?
I do, yes.
So you can put 100 watts into this. This picture was actually from a club member. And it's really nice. I mean, that's the entire antenna and the transformer right there. So what he did was he tied one end to the truck and one end to the picnic shelter. No trees.
And fiberglass pole, this fiberglass pole tied to that post there on the picnic shelter.
Awesome.
So it's up, 23 feet.
Yeah. But that's one of the advantages of an end fed over a dipole is it actually doesn't really care as much about an elevation as the dipole does. This is another example of an end fed. This is actually the W0TLM kit that I can't remember who else, but somebody had that in their presentation. So this is the kit in build form. If I can build this kit, anybody can build this kit. I am the least technical person you will meet. I don't solder. I have heavy supervision of this, but I did actually do this completely on my own, just a lot of supervision. So it is resonant on 40, 20, 15, and 10, but with a good tuner, I've actually gotten it to do really well on 17 and 12. So if you have trees available, this was a camping trip, and my husband actually made this dipole, and it has 2 parallel wires. So we've got one wire that does 20, and one wire that does 40. And then you also get the harmonics in there on each one of those wires. So they're run off of one balun in the center. So everything, all 4 of those come into the same balun, and then your feed line comes down. And then there's a close-up of what that looks like. So to deploy that, what we did is we put a paracord in between 2 trees, and that paracord already had a pulley on it. So we ran paracord through that pulley. Now we can put the antenna up, bring the antenna down, without having to mess with the paracord of the trees. Another camping trip, we had the end fed along, and we had discovered that the end fed's not very good at 80 meters or 17 meters. And for that trip, we really wanted those bands. So we made a Franken dipole, is what we named it. So we put the legs 90 degrees from each other instead of doing the parallel. And one leg that's going in between the 2 trees, that's actually 17 meter. The other one that you can see that comes down at a pretty sharp angle, we didn't have it fully set up in this picture. So this was before we kind of pulled those out. That's the 80 meter legs. And it worked fantastic on both. So you also learn to improvise. So this was a wildlife area that I went to activate. A little bit of a drive on some pretty rough, really, I think, fun dirt roads, but some people wouldn't think so. And we get there, and there are signs that we can't actually be anywhere outside the parking lot unless we have a hunting pass. Well, that wasn't on the website. So now what do we do? So we found the tree that was just barely on the other side of the fence. So we achieved a little bit on the other side of the fence, put our end fed up in that tree, and as we're pulling it up, it falls out of the tree because this tree is not very strong at all. It's not breaking the tree, it just won't support it. So we put it up 2 or 3 times, trying to figure it out, can't get it to stay up there. As soon as we put any tension on the wall, it just falls right out. So what we did is we found a couple of poles. So this is our launcher pole that Tim's going to be demonstrating later today. And then this is another extension pole that we use for if we get something stuck in a tree. So we made those into a little bipod, supported the transformer with that. So that way that took the weight off of the other end of the antenna. And then we took we had a paracord that went from the transformer and tied it to the roof rack on the truck. So now we've pulled all of the weight off of this tree. So literally the wire is just kind of draped over the tree and there's no tension on it. And we finally got it to stay that way. So sometimes you just have to look what you brought the end of the truck and make it work. This guy actually flew on a trip, and he wanted to do some activations and get some other states, but was pretty limited in what he could bring because he's flying. So what he brought was a hand stick and a mag mount, And then when he got to his destination, he rented a car and put the mag mount right on top of the car. And it worked. Ham sticks have a bad reputation for being very inefficient, not great antennas. But let's go back to what Lauren said earlier today. Good enough. So really the most important takeaways is get out there and activate. Don't think that your antenna needs to be perfect. Compromise is okay, as long as you understand it's a compromise. So decide what compromises you're good with, and just get out there and try it. If it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. We're amateurs. We're not professionals. So what questions do you guys have? All right, awesome, thank you.